Now we can get into placing the beam layout. Okay. Number one, level display. Your level that you are going to want to pick. For the time being, beam steel is what we'll be using since these are rolled beam. You also have beam concrete for pre-stress. And I want to define a beam layout. It will ask me my start limit. It does allow you to define simple span beams. It'll allow you to define a rolled section from abutment to pier and then a larger rolled section, however you want to do it. I'm just going to, for sake of simplicity, define it from my abutment to my abutment, accept it, and it's going to bring up this dialog in order to start defining how my beams are laid out. OBM cannot, or at least it hasn't in the past, it hasn't been able to figure out how, with a straight bridge on a curved alignment, it tends to not work out well, I guess. I don't have a particular layout that I'm looking at right now, but I'm going to make it continuous. I do want the ends skewed, and typically, if I define this now, it'll only define it for my left and right exterior beams. So right now, I want to define, okay, so left and right for my exterior beams. I have to define them based on my right deck edge and my left deck edge. If I'm moving right, just like the overhang, I'm going to define it as a positive number. If I'm moving left, then I'm going to define it as a negative number. And then as I increase the number of beams, it's going to adjust the spacing for me. If I modify this to 2.25 minus 2.25, it will not adjust all of these until I add or subtract a beam. So I'm going to go ahead and define it as this right here. It defines my beam length. I want to skew all of my beams. I'm going to define a 6-inch station offset. And basically what I want to do is validate this. What it does is it places beams in here for me to go and look at. You can see this beam right here has a skewed end. It's placed parallel to the exterior deck edge. And down at this end, got a skewed end, but it has shortened it up by 6 inches. What I did was I defined that the incorrect way. I want a station line offset overlap and to overlap to extend beyond the center line of abutment. So validate that again. Go look. So now my beam ends are extending past. And these are the numbers that it messes up, the spacing. If I remember right on this bridge, this should be 7.75, but it just, OBM just can't figure out how I'm placing things, even though I've defined it as from the left deck edge. I'm going to say this is good, and it places my beam, or my beam layout rather, for me right there.